forward. Happy 4-4 portal while we in the middle of this palindrome vortex. Love, 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 and light to you all. Let me see if we got the hearts up moving along there because TikTok was cutting up. So let me tap it up, tap it up. Welcome in. We are closing out the detox to detach for those who were a part of the detox to detach and was doing whatever it is that you could possibly do, right? Let me share some light with you. Let me get this sage while you guys are coming on in. Let me go ahead and wind it up, create a sacred space, and sacred space it up for you. Release, release, release whatever it is that you don't need so we can really take the time to sift through these feelings, through these emotions and energies and motions while we are shifting through the times, while we are sifting and shifting through this fifth dimensional timeline, which is this point that we just embarked upon, the summer solstice. So this is the third day. The summer solstice is about the stillness of the sun, and it's still for 3 days and then it begins moving. So welcome to the third day. This is the third day. So for those of you who have the calendar, you will see, let me get the calendar out. I got my little table today. I got my stuff up so we could really get into it today. We gonna get into breaking down some of these emotions, how to filter through these energies, emotions, the sensations that carry the information, because that's what it do. But let me show to you first where we can see on the calendar where it is Miracle Day. I don't know which camera can see it best, but we have, let's start with the solstice, which was on Sunday, this day, right? Let me see if I can bring it in. Okay, you can see it. I don't know if it's blurred or not. And this day right here, that was the summer solstice, that's Sunday. Now, bring that into today. Today we are on the 4th day of Cancer, right? This is by the 5D calendar. So you'll see it says 4, right? But at the bottom, you'll see it says 24. 24, meaning the 24th of June. Cancer is from June into July. So from June 21st to July 22nd is where you will find the month of Cancer, known as Nekbet, right? On the 5D calendar. This is me sharing the 5D calendar with some of you because this is what I go by. So I can relate it to the 3D calendar, but this is where we are. So on this, if you look, for those of you who have the calendar, and if you look on this day today, you'll see it says Miracle Day right there in the middle. Miracle Day, because it's 3 days after the solstice. So the solstice is here. You got 1, 2, 3. On the third day, the sun begins moving forward, just like the winter solstice. And this happens all the time. This is not just now. This is not just right now, right? Every summer solstice and winter solstice is when the sun is still 3 days. That's where they get the story from. The sun rose in 3 days because the sun, the Ra, the sun as they knew it, died. They called it died, according to the ancient ones. That's how it was looked at in the stories. The sun died and rose in 3 days, meaning it moved forward in 3 days. So that's the solstice. So today is representing the third day that it is moving forward. So forward movement, we call it Miracle Day because it is the day of miracles, meaning the perfect outworking of the law. The perfect outworking of the law under the sun. Now the sun represents our outer world as the moon represents our inner world. Welcome in those who are joining. Go ahead and tap up those hearts. So those who are on the frequencies or looking for the higher frequencies can get it via our algorithms. Ashe, greetings, welcome in, peace, love, and light. Let me see who that is. Welcome in. I think it says Luck Boy or Lock Boy. Let me get my glasses, right? Let me stop fighting. Let me stop the fight. The fight is real. Luck Boy. Okay, welcome in, Luck Boy. Greetings, greetings. Let me see. Hi, anyone else who came in? Divine greetings to you all. Welcome in, Butterfly. Or that's Infinity. Infinity, welcome in. So we're doing the detox to detach, closing out the detox to detach And that was 5 days, right? So we were preparing for the summer solstice. For those who were able to be in that live, my apologies to TikTok. They locked me out, so I couldn't do it on TikTok, but we did do it on YouTube. And I did a video to kind of shift y'all over to YouTube if you were looking for the live. So that was 5 days before the solstice while we prepare our vessels for the light codes, the amount of light codes that were going to be coming in. So we did that. Let me see. Love and light. Hey, Carrie. I thought of you today or yesterday. One of these days. I'm still adjusting since I came back. Leading up to all of this and now preparing for the workshop, which starts in 2 days. So if this resonates with you and you all want to amplify these light codes and work in these light codes through your soul, please join the workshop. It starts in 2 days, the working with the full moon in our energy centers, and I'll talk about that later. But let me finish explaining what we were doing about with the detox. So 5 days, because that's the way the message came, and 5 is the number of change, radical change in alignment with Uranus, which is about radical change and disturbances that may come. So we were preparing for the storms, so to speak. We were preparing for the light codes to amplify, because that's what the summer solstice is about. When the solar is at its solar maximum, we're talking about the solar cycle, and it's at its solar maximum. It's on its ascent into the summer solstice. Once we pass the summer solstice, the sun begins its descent into the winter. And after the winter solstice, it begins its ascension again. That is the cycle, the solar cycle. So it gets to its solar maximum. And when you think of the sun that amplifies, when we think of the sun that does what? It brings everything into the outer world. The sun represents the masculine energy, the will to do in our consciousness. It represents the ego and the conscious phase of mind, where we do all of our thinking and decision making and execution of activities, life, world, and affairs. Everything is done in the conscious phase of mind, just like everything is done in the light of day. So the sun represents bringing all the light and exposure in its fullness. It's when the day we have the most sunlight, maximum sunlight in the day. That's why most people know it as being the longest day. Ashe. So what we were doing with the detox, we were preparing our bodies, our vessels, just as I was getting the message, to prepare for the light codes that move through us, because our bodies have to be ready to appropriate and integrate these light codes into our mind-body complex. So the reason why it's important to prepare the body, because when you detox, when you are removing junk food, so to speak, and I don't just mean fast food, junk food, I mean the processes, the blocks, the time it takes for your body to break down certain foods, right, including carbs and things like that. You take a break from all of that. That's the purpose of the detox, to give the body a break so that only live food and light code foods are processing through your body. And that's what we were doing with the detox. So it is to prepare you so that, because this is all information and communication, right? For those of us who can understand, overstand, and understand. Greetings, welcome in. Manifestation for transmutation, as transmutation is for manifestation. Ashe. So that's what it is. It's manifesting, and in order for us to, and for the manifestation to come in, and the manifestation is just for us to see what we have been manifesting, what is present right now, right? It's not always, a lot of times we think the manifestation is just what we want. It's not just about what you want. It's about being able to recognize what has been manifested. And so it's the manifestation for the transmutation that is happening, because that's what's happening. We're transmuting the misappropriations and things that may be in the way, in the body. And this is not just all about you. It's about it's the planetary ascension and the part we play in the planetary ascension, and also in the reverse, you know, the part that the planet plays in our soul ascension. So it's not just literally only about you, but what it is that you can do for your country, right? What you can do for your planet. See, I just heard it. Boom. So we were preparing our bodies and our vessels for such a time as this, for the solar maximum. As the light codes come in, you want as much information to come through and transmit through you. We are transmitters. We are conduits of this light. So it's really preparing that vessel for maximum light codes. And what's important that I like for us to know, welcome in. Thank you for those who are coming in. Continue to send the hearts. Tap it up, because the more we do, the more we help the algorithms to get to those who are on these frequencies and who are preparing themselves for this shift in time as we are sifting through the dimensions in our mind, because that's exactly what it is, right? And so things to know about this solar summer solstice is also that it is on the pivotal point of where we change seasons, right? The solstice and the equinox, they are all at the pivotal changing points where the cardinal signs are. So those of you who are aware of these signs being cardinal, now you know why. The cardinal represents leadership, because they are the lead of the next quarter in the season, right? So Aries would be the first quarter, and that's spring. The second quarter would be Cancer. That's the next cardinal, and that's summer. Ashe. And then the fall equinox would be during Libra or Ma'at, and that's the fall quarter. That's the third quarter. And the fourth quarter would be Capricorn, and that is the winter season, and that's the last quarter of the year before the year begins again in spring with Aries, the month of Aries, the month that we call Asar according to the calendar, Kemetically so. And that is how the year pretty much goes. So when we know, the reason why I'm saying this is because we kind of need to put all of this together, right? For us to really understand how it interacts with us. There are so many codes that we're getting, so many things that are helping us in our ascension, but a lot of times it is blocked by all kind of distractions, right? Like right now, the biggest distraction is FIFA. I know I love soccer. I played it all my life. I coached it. Nothing against soccer. But I have to admit that whenever they have these events, these entertainment events, these sports events, they've been doing it from Roman times. That's why they had the Colosseum and all that. All of these things are to gather people to harvest their energies misappropriatedly. So while they who are attuned to these very things that we're just now, some of us are just now waking back up to, they have these coordinates and they harvest our energy to do what they want. This is our opportunity to take our power back, to take our energy back, to harness the stars, the sun, the moon, and the stars for our soul ascension, to allow it to help wake up the dormant codes. Ashe? So this detox, to detach, this is not just about detoxing from foods. For those of you who were in this, in our first live, we broke down all kind of stuff that we're peeling the layers. It's helping us to recognize emotions, because that's what the cravings are about, right? Cravings are the emotions. Cravings indicate to you through the body where the emotions are, and the emotions are energy in motion. We got to start thinking about our emotions as energy in motion, rather than just feelings that happen to come up or us feeling some type of way. They are indicators. The feeling itself is an indicator to you. It is a sensation that you feel, the sensations of the information. So you feel it, whether mentally, physically, emotionally. You feel sensations because it has to give you the information. It triggers to you what is going on. That's why we are sentient beings, and we live in this in this realm to have an experience through sentience, through feeling. Ashe? Any questions, any comments? Let me see, let me catch. I see some right there, so let me take a pause. removing the true junk DNA through detox to detach. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. Thank you. We are, if I could short sum all of that up, we are removing true junk DNA, not what they call junk, because what scientists call junk is really our dormant DNA that they can't tap into. They don't know, they don't have the science yet to be able to read what our dormant DNA can tell them, but they know that it's worth something. They know what it means, but they don't want you to know that. So they just tell you that it's junk until they could buy some time and figure out how to decipher it themselves. But we don't have to wait on them. This is what the awakening is for. This is what Third Eye Atlas came through our system to update us to. A lot of people came online and woke up to that. So this is to remove the true junk that we have been programmed and putting in, the things that we have been making an issue that is not an issue. It is to remove all of that so we can really, peace and greetings, sis. I see you, dedicated roots, hearts. Thank you so much. Hearts back to you. Thank you for the love. Let me see if anyone else has any comments or questions. Luck, thank you for the love. I'm good, Infinity. Thank you. I didn't even see that. I'm doing good, Luck Boy. Thank you. Oh, from Gambia. Welcome in from Gambia. What time is it over there? He said this coming from the smiling coast of Africa, the west coast of Africa, Gambia. I'm gonna make my way over there soon. We gonna get over there. I'm supposed to be making my way over to Ghana. Not supposed to. I will be in due time. That is where the, yes, energy harvesting. That's exactly what they're doing, harvesting our energy for what they want. And now it's time for us to take control of our energy, take back the reins, right? So this is what we're talking about here, what we need to do. Let me make sure. It was all kind of, I didn't even know. I got to remember to scroll. My apologies for those that I missed. So yes, that's why I do the retreat in Jamaica, the ancestral retreat, to get ready, prepared, and make it over there to the motherland, over to Africa. Thank you, dedicated roots. Thank you for sharing too. Share the live if you know this is for somebody who needs to hear it, because this is what I'm sharing with you all about closing out the detox, the detach, and what is happening and what are we doing. So yes, we're removing junk, true junk DNA, so we can unlock the codes of our dormant DNA. We always start with the wisdom of the known, unknown in spring cardinal, as we are the true cardinal officials, Ashe. So we start with that in the spring, right? And that's the unknown, the known unknown, right? Because spring is happening like coming out of Pisces and entering into, coming out of the unknown, the waters, the spiritual house of Pisces, and coming into Aries, into the fire, into ready, set, go. Fire takes the initiative. And so right now, where the cardinal shift is, we're coming out of the information of Gemini and into, which is knowledge, and into the emotions, into the emotional body. So taking in the mental, there's been a lot of mental work that's been happening, and a lot of us take this mental work lightly, and it's not to be taken lightly. And this helps you move through the mental work. This helps you with mental management. And when I say mental, I mean the suke, mental that is infused with your soul, the psyche, the suke, right? And this is helping us sift through all of that into the emotional body, the energy in motion as it flows and as we feel it, right? And who feels it knows it. So let me get back to what we were seeing. So yes, it has been lots of mental, right? Since you see it, and I got a message of that today through another person who was talking about it, that this year would be a mental year. I'm trying to remember her name. I think it's Elunia. It's one of them on YouTube. and that this year, their forecast was this year would be a mental year. And yes, it is, because this whole year, even leading up to here, has been mental preparation. There's been a lot of revelations to help extract things from our mind body complex. So, but we have to translate it, right? And the nervous system, which is calibrating to all of this, the nervous system is helping us with the translation. Why? The nervous system itself is the translating, the translator between and within our mind body complex. Do we understand that? Do we feel that? Because the mind has to translate to the body. The body gives information back. There's a communication between the mind and within the mind body complex, which is the soul resonance. The entire mind is the soul, and the body is the vehicle that our soul is driving around it. The body is our life, world, and affairs, everything that is pressed out of the subconsciousness into the body. So the body and the mind have to have a mutual, they have to have a good communication. This is why we get thrown off, because we are off communication. The body's not listening to the mind, and the mind is not listening to the body. We're misfiring communication because of the nervous system that gets shot by trauma, by wounds, by foods. This is all stuff that we have to do to prepare ourselves during these times. So the trauma and the wounds block us up mentally and emotionally. We get stuck in certain places because of particular traumas, known and unknown, whether you are aware of it or it's hidden deep in your subconscious, which is where it does most of the damage, right? You know how they like to say, what you don't know won't hurt you? Throw that out the window, because that's such a lie, and it's such a disservice to your soul. What you don't know will dish rag you. What you don't know will run the hell over you, right? And I always like to give this example when I'm teaching my children, and I always say, think about it like this. If you can't see a bus, right? If you're crossing the street and you can see the bus coming, you can move out of the way, right? If you cannot see the bus, that bus is going to run you the hell over. You're going to get dragged. So let's not kid ourselves, and we got to stop playing around with stuff, talking about what you don't see won't hurt. Stop saying it, stop repeating it, and stop telling it so that your children will hear it. Because it's the things that you don't see that are laying in your subconscious mind that you are not addressing that is doing every bit of damage in your life, world, and affairs. And I'm talking all of us. A lot of the things that I have suffered is because of what I did not know. And we all know that, because then when we learn the lesson, because a lot of us got to get burnt to feel it. When we learned the lesson, then when we like, you know what, now I know. And then some of us even say, thank you, because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't know, right? And it wouldn't have to happen if we weren't being stubborn human beings, trying to have our own way, trying to be in our own comforts that are getting in our way, trying to act like we don't see and we don't know. Oh, if I don't see it, I don't got to be responsible for it. How's that been working out for some of us, right? How has that been working out? Yes, it will take you out. You know it, sis. It'll take you right out if you don't know. So you better get to knowing. Ignorance is no excuse. And that's what I was saying in one of the last things. Dig deep. Go find out. This is not the time to walk around acting like you don't know. Because when you lose your keys and you lose your phone, you dig the hell up out of everything. So when you don't know what's going on in your soul, dig up your soul. That's what this workshop that I'm doing, that I have coming up, is very helpful in doing. Every time someone is in this workshop, they say the same thing. I did not know. Thank you. I didn't know that was laying inside my consciousness. So this is how we unlock the soul codes, and we have an opportunity to do that with every full moon. And I'm going to get into that. Let's finish up with the solstice. I'm going to share with y'all. For those who come into the workshop, you are definitely going to get an opportunity to work with each energy center, which is a doorway into your consciousness, so that you can unlock one code at a time. And it's not going to clear up everything, but it's definitely going to open the door. It's definitely going to open up the ventilation and get some things going, right? And get you into the knowing of your own soul's journey. So when we do this detox is going to help you. This detox that we did do, that we're closing out now. And anyone who, well, let me ask this. Is there anyone here right now that detox, that either joined us in the 5 days or did your own detox? Just let me know. Just drop it in the link. You could just say, I did my own, or 5-day detox. Let me know if you either joined us or you did your own, so I can see just who we have here, who's been working on it, who's been feeling called into a detox. Some people were naturally feeling called into the detox. All right, let me go ahead and continue to send some hearts. The more we send hearts, the more it gets those algorithms going to get those who are on these frequencies and looking for such a time as this. All right, let me see what else we have here, what you were saying. While I'm waiting on you all to respond, let me take the time to read something. Okay, Carrie says she detox. Okay, good. How many days did you detox, Carrie? Let me know. They will use you to clean the filthiest dishes, rinse you out, put you to dry on the line, and use you again until you rest in peace. Yes, they will. You better know that you know something, and then be prepared to unknow. I like that. Be prepared, right? You better know that you know something, and then be prepared to unknow so you can know something new and true again. I did my own 3-day detox. Okay, Clay says he did his own. Started on this past Friday. So you started Friday, leading up to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So let's say you did kind of like a 3-day detox leading up to the summer solstice. You're probably still in your detox now, which is good. Anybody on, let me see, is there anybody on TikTok? Beyond the Lab. Beyond says, I did a detox, but not for 5 days. Okay, good. You did your own. How many days, if you don't mind me asking, how many days did you do the detox? I don't know what happened there. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what happened. The camera just split. I don't know how that happened. 2 days. Okay, you did a 2-day detox. Hello. I don't know how that happened, but maybe you could close it out because I don't know how to. I'm not doing the match. I don't know what the match thing is, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm not on the match. All right, so Beyond, you did 2 days. You added someone to your screen. How do I do that? Did I press something that says add?
Hey, how are you, Daddy?
Now I done added something. What the heck? Hold on 1 second, y'all. Let me see how I can possibly. If anybody here on TikTok knows how to close it out, please let me know. Because I don't know how to. Hi, close it out if you can, because I don't know how to. Okay, there he go. He closed it out. You added someone to your screen. The match is a game competition. I don't know nothing about that match. I don't know. I've seen it on TikTok, and I don't get it. I don't even get the purpose. And I tried watching it. I'm like, what do y'all do? It just looks like a distraction to me. It's none of my business. As Lil Scrappy would say. Y'all could tell I just told on myself. That's my little, I used to have my little love and hip hop fix. Ain't none of my business. All right, started this past Friday. Okay, so are you, Carrie, are you still within your 5 days? Let me know. Is there anyone here still detoxing? Tap it up, tap it up, tap it up. Is there anyone here that is still in the detox? All right, so as we're closing out the detox, because this was all to prepare ourselves for the summer solstice. Some of you were naturally already called into a detox. I was just guided to do 5 days with whoever was in alignment, and it was to be intentional about the 5, about the change, and be in alignment with what is changing right now. And 3 days is good as well, because the summer solstice is still for 3 days. So 3 is also the creative completion. So it's being in alignment with that creative completion, which is a type of manifestation as well. So, and Carrie says she's still detoxing. Okay, good. And so I don't know how many days you're doing, but as I said, we were doing 5 to be intentional about the change that is happening and what is pivoting and what is being shared with us. The light codes that are coming in, how the detox helps us. Like I said, it's not just about food for those who were in here. It was to recognize that food as information speaks to our bodies. And as the mind body complex is communicating through the nervous system, the food plays a part in that. So a lot of times, the food is a distraction. A lot of times we get cravings, and when we start the detox, a lot of people recognize their cravings. That's why I talked about that in the first one. So if you need an in-depth version of how we had a whole board behind us and we were really going in about it. So if you need to see that, you can check me out on YouTube. I was able to do it on YouTube, so you'd have to go to my YouTube channel at Celestial Earth Divine Energy and go to my lives, and you will see I actually did a thumbnail for that live. I usually don't. I usually just hop on and do a live. But for that particular one, I did a thumbnail, so it's easier for those who are looking for the information for that detox. So that in there, it would really break down. Even if you didn't get to do the detox, it really helps you to understand when you're doing these things while you're aligning with particular cosmic acceleration of light photons and things like that. And it's not just during the summer solstice, okay? It is during any high cosmic shifts that may be happening, right? And so after this, one of the next major things is going to be the Sirius Gateway. And then the Halls of Amenti, which is what people call the 8-8 Lion's Gate. That's really the Halls of Amenti. That's another, cosmic alignment. That is actually, it's actually affiliated with the Sirius Gateway. It's after we pass the Sirius Gateway, in about a month, you will start to see the Sirius star, the Sirius cluster of star, or where Sirius is aligned with. You will start to see it, on the horizon. So it has to do with when you start to see that, what we call Orion's belt. At this point, that's still the name that I know it as, but I know our ancient Cometics has another name for it, right? So it is to be in alignment and get these codes that help us align with the celestials and open up these dormant codes inside of us. And this is how we do it. The more we remove junk, the more we remove wounds, is the more that we access these dormant codes. The more we are intentional about going in through our energy centers and unlocking those doors into our consciousness, the more we are accessing this, right? Ashe, Ashe. Rue, what's up? Welcome in to the high frequency vibe. So we're talking about the summer solstice and what we were doing to prepare through the summer solstice and what we are detaching from. So that brings me to the detaching part of the detox. So we were detoxing from the foods, and it is in conjunction with doing something physical that requires practical application. So by removing the foods, we are removing that type of distraction, and we're giving our body a break. What the detox does, before I get into the detach, what the detox does is break down, allows the body to take a break from breaking down these foods, because the body has to work to do that. So it's giving the body a break, not allowing the body to be distracted, so that we can hear more within the spirit, because the spirit speaks loudly when you give the body a break. When the body is so busy working, if you just think about when you're busy at work, you're not thinking about nothing else. Think about when you're busy doing something else, even with your children. I know it happens to me all the time. When you're really busy and they're trying to talk to you, you're not taking that in. You're not pennying that, right? You're not penny that, as we would say in Jamaica, right? So when you are busy, think about your body busy working down, breaking down the carbs, breaking down the sweets, breaking down the processed foods, all of this, that because all your body needs is the nutrients. But we have all these other things in the way when we're eating this other stuff, breaking down the meats. The meats are very, very dense. So when and I'm not saying don't eat these things ever, never, never, right? To each his own. Everybody's listening to their body. You know what your body is moving you away from. I'm being honest and truthful about what these foods are and how they register to the body and what the body has to do. So think of your workers, all the digestive cells, everything, they busy at work, breaking it down, right? Bridget, thanks for the heart. And while the body is so busy, it's not trying to hear nothing from spirit. This is why it's hard for us to do. This is why they say, for those who know about the part in the Bible with Acts, when they talk about Paul, the Apostle Paul, who always said one of the famous things is, why do I do the things that I should do, I don't do, and the things that I shouldn't do, I do. Because it is hard to come up against the flesh when the flesh is not trying to hear spirit. So this is a practice when you are detoxing, when you are stripping yourself, giving the body a break from doing all this work. It's easier for you to listen and to hear because the body is taking a break. It's not so busy breaking down the foods. That's an easy way. That's the best way that I could explain the purpose of this detox at that level, right? Because the other purpose, of course, is to remove all kind of, junk information so you can clear the way for light code information to come through, right? You're removing the resistance in the body as per food. The other type of resistance in the body is your wounds. And this is a part that a lot of people don't like to exhume. But the wounds play a part. And a lot of times we can't see the wounds, hear the wounds. We don't know what they are. We don't take the time to find out what they are because we're still eating the foods that are making our body work a lot. And we're not taking the time. It's all about TTT, y'all. Take the time. So when you do this part, I'm giving it to you in layers. When you do this food part and giving that body a break, it's moving it out of the way. So now you could hear what's been hiding in your subconscious, probably since childhood, since that last relationship, since that last trauma that you think that you buried, but it's still playing out and it still has resonance in your energetic field and in your life world and affairs. It didn't go away just because you said, I'm not going to think about it consciously anymore. Subconsciously, it's playing out. And in your life world and affairs, you are unconsciously behaving according to that subconscious thought and feeling that is still there. And the only way it knows how to come out is through feeling. And that's why sometimes we attract certain things that happen to us, because it's trapped in your subconscious mind. And the subconscious is only going to bring it up. The subconscious is the feelings. Everything in the subconscious is the feeling. Remember, conscious is thinking, subconscious is feeling. That's why the sun represents your conscious mind and the moon represents your subconscious mind. And the moon helps to bring all of that up. That's why people don't like the full moon, but I love it. Bring it on. I'm ready for it. I'm always ready for the full moon, right? The full moon is like a cosmic spotlight because it brings up the well of emotions. It brings up the emotions, the feelings that are laying quietly in the subconscious that you don't want to address, but you need it to get to that next level, right? So a lot of us, we ask for things from the divine and we need certain things. We need to shift to quantum leap. We think one of the biggest mistakes is people think that in 5D, in the Aquarian age, the age of the knowing, and in 5D, we think that all we need to do is read all these books, get all this information, and we think that that's it. And that's not it. Hi, humble beginnings, greetings, greetings. We think it's just about getting the information, and it's like, no, you got some stuff to release. Getting the information is good, but you also have to release some things, because now all you're doing is getting information and piling it on top of all of your blockages. You did not remove your blockages. So even as light is pouring through and it's connecting with the information that you know, it still can't move through you effectively and efficiently as a light body because you're riddled with resistance, with what I call riddled with bullets, like full of blocks of resistance. So we have to do our part to also take away and extract. We got to dig deep. We got to dig a little deeper. I forgot what cartoon that was, but we got to dig deep and extract what's in there. So these tools help you extract that. The detoxing, the fasting, the spiritual baths, the anything that is allowing you to release, the practical applications as in rituals that are working with the sun and the moon and aligning with the coordinates are helping you to extract what you need to extract. And that's how you get to that next level. There's no other way. There's no way around it. Welcome in, Dora. It's all good, especially if you've been putting in that work. Yes, Rue. And that's why I always say it works if you work it. Right? It works if you work it. You got to be the one that's working it. Nobody can work it for you. Right? Is it worth it? Let me work it. Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Y'all know what time it is. You got to work it. Right? Likes and dislikes are attractions and distractions. Yes, detox to detach helps to weed out. Yes, it weed out the untimely. So likes and dislikes are attractions and they are distractions. I like that. Well said. Because what you like is a preference and that's a distraction. Because you prefer something this way, you can't see when the divine is showing you something else because it's not in your peripheral. It's not in your preference. Thanks, Royale. It is not in your preference of view. So you can't receive it. Right? And if you dislike something, you're distracted by what you dislike and you're also giving it your attention and your intention, and where attention goes, energy flows and the result shows. So you wonder why you keep getting that thing that you don't like because you keep thinking about what you don't like. We don't have time to waste on what we like and what we don't like, right? And I know that's kind of hard to look at sometimes because a lot of times it's your internal guidance. Like I like to look at what is naturally drawn to me, but not to get caught up in it. If we can think about it like that, we got to know these boundaries. There's a fine line. Notice what you're naturally drawn to, and that's fine, right? There's a reason why you find something in it, but it is not to be so connected to it, right? Where we're not seeing it. We're not seeing what it is. It's not to be too drawn in where it becomes the preference to the point where your vision is blocked and you can't see nothing else because all you can see is your preference. We got to get over our preferences, right? This is why sometimes I like to say to myself, it's not about what you like. Get over yourself. Sometimes we got to tell ourselves that. We got to have that ego conversation, right? Which I'm going to share a little bit of that ego conversation with y'all because I had one today. And by example, I know it always helps when people understand when you have a true testimony. I had to talk to that ego today. We are all walking through this, right? We're all mind-body complex. We all got to deal with it. So we really got to understand the complexity of the ego because the ego will stray you. And I mean the misappropriated ego. And we got to know how to sift it out. There's the wise ego and there's the misappropriated ego. A lot of times we don't listen to the wise ego. We listen to the misappropriated ego. Why? Because the misappropriated ego is hinged on our misappropriated emotions. It's hinged on our misappropriated feelings that are laying in the subconscious that needs to come up. All right? So a lot of this detoxing is helping us channel through that. So let me ask this of you while we're talking about this as we get into the practical, because as you can see, I'm bridging us into the detaching and the practical, still talking about the detox. So let me ask some of you this. With the detox, how many of you have felt something come up in the detox? Like, let's just talk about foods wise. Is there a craving? Is there something that you saw that where you were able to pinpoint? Especially if you were in this chat with us the last time. In this particular detox, is there anything that you were able to pinpoint? And even if you weren't in the detox, is there anything that anyone here was able to notice as like pinpoint as I notice I have this craving? And were you able to go to that craving? Because that's what we talked about. Seeing the craving, but not giving into the craving. Instead, looking at what that craving represents emotionally and facing the emotion. That's what we were doing in the detox. So if anyone was here that can share that, thank you. We got sweets. Someone says sweets. We got sweets. Royale got sweets. So you saw the sweets coming up. So let me see, because you were in the last live with us. So let's see if you knew what to do with that. What was the sweets? What emotion? So the craving was for the sweets. What was the emotion that the sweet was giving you, was indicating to you is happening in the emotional body? Let's see if you got that. And I know you do. I know you know. I know you know what emotion to look at. If anyone here knows it, let me know. Put it in the chat. If you have a craving for sweets, what is the emotion that is being indicated? Let's do this work right here and right now. We're going to work it out together. Anybody? What is the emotional craving for sweets? Oh, she said, sorry, I'm driving. Okay. Anybody else know? Yes. We got depression. Okay. Thank you, Carrie. Depression. When you crave for sweets, it is indicating to you that depression is it. And it doesn't have to be clinical depression. As I let y'all know, it doesn't have to be clinical. All depression is suppression and repression of anger. Ooh, some of us may not have saw that coming. Suppression and repression of anger. What does that mean? It means you were not allowing yourself to feel angry. Anger is an indication. A lot of us naturally hide anger because, oh, I'm not supposed to be angry at that. I'm not, we trying to be the do-gooder. We trying to do the right thing. So a lot of times we have been programmed to suppress and repress anger, especially as a melanated people, especially as those of us who come from the ancestry of slavery. We've been told you are not allowed, you better suck it up. You are not supposed to be angry. Don't show me no angry. I'm supposed to treat you however I want to treat you, beat you, whoop you, rape you, whatever. I'm supposed to be able to do any of that, and you are supposed to take it. And don't show me no face. You smile when you address me. So a lot of that is encoded in our DNA, and just even in society, the people of power or whatever have been doing what they wanted to do, and everybody of lower class and are just supposed to take it and smile and get up and go to work the next day. So a lot of us, this is why depression falls upon a lot of people. So depression is from suppressed anger. So it's not that you got to walk around showing your anger like Incredible Hulk, right? But if you don't allow yourself to feel, the feelings are indicators. How dare you block that feeling? How dare you block that indication that's saying something to you? So this is why we end up getting depressed. Now, for a lot of people that are dealing with that, especially the 5D, those of you who are ascending through and going through all of this, being surrounded by family members who do not, by friends and family members in a world who do not acknowledge this. How many of you are feeling that? Like now you could possibly see how depression could creep in, because you have to suppress and repress whenever you feel angry, frustrated, and annoyed by the surrounding world that just can't get right, that is not aware of the fifth dimension, that is not aware of the things that you are aware of, and that could be depressing. And how many of us have to minimize and make your light a little smaller, which by the way we should not be doing, right? Just like this summer solstice, we need maximum light. Maximize your light. But how many have to make it a little smaller so that others are comfortable? That is a suppression. So therefore, a lot of people are dealing with depression, known and unknown, consciously and unconsciously. So if you feel yourself going for sweets a lot, that's an indication that you're suppressing something, that your depression is saying you're suppressing and you're repressing some anger, some frustration, right? So thank you for sharing that. And so why I say that now, just so that we know, just to give us all an example, that that is how we dealt with the detox. If something came up and we had a list of other things, you'll have to watch that video to see what it is. But we went through the different cravings. So whatever craving you get, it's not for you to give into the craving. And if you do, as we always say, do it and do it without guilt, because you don't want to eat nothing with guilt. But if you do it, at least reflect on it and ask yourself, why did I go for that sweet? Why did I crave that sweet? Why did I go for that sweet? And instead of addressing the craving, go to the emotion. Address the energy in motion and ask yourself, what is it that I am suppressing and repressing? What is angering me? And allow yourself to go there with that anger. That's what the detox helps you to do with the foods that you are taking out of the way. It is now helping you to cognitively recognize and realize what is around you. What are you drawn to and why? And this is how the body is speaking to you. The body is saying, because you haven't been addressing it in the mind, the body is saying, I want some sweets. Give me some sweets. And then we're supposed to now, it should indicate to us so we can know this is what I need to address. And as I said in the last meeting, when you address the emotion, the craving will fall away. It works every time. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. Those who have worked this before, they know when you address the emotion, the energy in motion, the craving falls away, because now you're talking through your body. By you addressing it in the mind, it sends a signal back into the body. We don't need this. And the body relaxes. Oh, we don't need this. She took care of it. He took care of it. He answered. Okay, so now I don't need to crave this. And that's what helps you to recognize, and then it draws you in. Now, the next step to this is it draws you in to pay more attention to the emotional mind, to the emotional body. Now you're starting to connect the wires. And now it's time for you to take every step of the way and every moment and looking at every craving in that way. Even when I'm not on the detox, I pay attention to my cravings, because through the detox is when I learned this. So now even when I could be on the road, and if I notice I'm just eating a lot of salty foods, or I'm like, damn, I'm kind of salty. And salty foods means like you're irritated. It's some type of irritation and frustration and annoyance, which again is a type of anger, but it's more of an outward anger rather than sweets, which is a depressed anger. Salty is more, you're more aware of it. It's like, oh, I'm salty. You're aware of your anger. You're like, yeah, if somebody was to ask you or you really take a look at it, it'll be like, yeah, I'm annoyed at something. So it really invites you to looking in your consciousness at what is going on in the emotional body, which is the sacral chakra, by the way, right? And that had a lot to do with this summer solstice. This summer solstice was calling for a lot of sacral attention. So some of you may have noticed that you may have been craving a lot of sacral foods, which are watermelons. I know Carrie liked them watermelons. You may have been craving a lot of melons, honeydew melon, watermelons, cantaloupe, anything that is like water content type of foods would be the sacral chakra, right? So, and those foods help activate that sacral and help you be more in alignment with opening the emotion, the doorway to that consciousness, which is the emotional body, right? And everything that triggers the emotions, which mainly is relationships, right? Yes, Rue, it is the emotional body. So now let's take this to the next level. Now that we got an understanding of the food and we saw that if we have this emotion, then what do I do with this emotion? I look and see what it looks like. And this is where I will show you all the wheel and what it looks like. Let me see if y'all can see the board. Can y'all see the board? Yes, yes. So to let you see, and I know this is not a perfect circle, but this is the fear-based wheel. So you can see that there is fear usually it's fear in the middle, right? But I'm going to have to write it a certain way. So I'm going to show you the layers of how we peel the layers. It's just a little tidbit. If you want the deep explanation, you got to look back at that video. But just so some of us know what to do with these emotions, right? So on the outer layer, I don't know if you all can see this, is anger, 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 anger. And then when you peel that layer of anger, it is mad, right? Let me erase the middle because y'all get the point. Just understand that it's a layer in the middle, but I'm going to write it, in a line so you can see the layers, right? Then we have sad. So this is the outer layer. Anger, mad, sad. And we peel them layers, right? Then we have hurt. Hurt and disappointment. I'm going to just put it all in there faithfully. Disappointment. And then expectation. These are the layers, the 7 main emotions. Because as I said, there are 2 main emotions, love and fear. That's it. It's either love-based or it's fear-based. That's it. So we're looking at the fear base, and there are 7 main emotions. There are many emotions, many sub-emotions, but they all connect to one of these. All right? So the first layer, and then let me put fear at the bottom. But remember, this is all we want to get to the center. So these are really circles. It really looks, let me put a little small thing just to kind of, it's really like layers like this, kind of like this, till you get to the core. So we're peeling, it's like peeling an onion. So we're peeling the emotional onion is what we're doing. All right. So fear is usually at the core. Fear-based. Even though a lot of people don't like saying it, it's fear-based. All right. So the outer layer is anger, mad, sad, hurt, disappointment, expectation, and fear. So whatever it is that you're feeling, you want to look at which one of these it connects with. Like, is it because I'm disappointed? Like, for instance, if I'm depressed, what is it about? Which, as we know, depression is really some hidden anger that you're not paying attention to. Yes, you may be hurt, but you want to start from the outer layer and you want to peel it back. This is how you get to the core. So you want to ask yourself, what is it that I'm angry about? When you get that answer, you peel that layer. Well, I'm angry, and we have to utilize this in order to peel the layers. So know that you're angry because you're mad. And then ask yourself, well, what am I mad at? And we got to be real honest with ourselves in allowing this information to come into us. Well, I'm mad because, this happened. Well, I'm mad because I'm sad. Well, what am I sad about? Right? There's something there that you're sad about. These 2 are the ones that people don't really like to admit. Sad and hurt. Right? And I'm sad because I'm hurt. So what am I hurt about? What is it that was done that hurt me? Big, little, small, I don't care what it is. It's something that hurt. And then you peel that layer. Well, I'm hurt because I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in something. What am I disappointed about? Well, I'm disappointed because I thought it was going to go this way or that way. I had an expectation. Well, why did I have an expectation? Well, because I feared that something would or wouldn't happen. So as I always say, the expectation and the fear, they're usually opposite, right? Usually you expect something to happen because you fear that it's not going to happen, right? Or usually you expect something to not happen because you fear something will happen, right? So for example, you may say, I expected, because of my fear of I fear that I'm gonna lose this relationship, right? I fear that my man is gonna leave me. So because I have this fear of him leaving, I expect him not to leave, right? And then because you're living in that expectation of him not to leave or not to hurt you, I expect that my man's gonna leave me, hurt me, betray me, whatever it is. Because I expect that, right? Because I fear that, I expect them not to, right? And then because you expect them not to, here comes disappointment. You get disappointed when they do, right? And I know some people may be saying, well, damn, am I supposed to expect them to do it? Am I supposed to? Thank you. Let me see what live will end in 4 minutes. Oh, they gonna end it for me. They ain't even gonna just let me live. Okay, thank you for that instruction. We have detected inactivity during your current live. Complete the verification. What are they talking about? Live will end. Okay. 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna get to that. Let me go ahead and do this. It says inactivity. So for those of you that are on the live on TikTok, if you wanted to keep going, I guess show some activity. Now, look, y'all know I'm still working with this. So put some hearts, heart it up, comment whatever it is that they want to see, because that's what it says. God, they just be monitoring, such monitoring spirits. Complete the verification to continue your current live. All right, so those of you in the live on TikTok, send the hearts. Like this, I don't have this kind of problem in YouTube, but thank y'all for the hearts anyway in YouTube. But TikTok is so sensitive. So sensitive. Let me add it up. We didn't even get deep into the detached part yet. Come on now, work with me. Work with me now. This detox showed that I did not want to take account of my own balance. Ooh, and being balanced. All right. Let me know for you that are those of you who are on TikTok, if you're still there. I don't know if you can respond because this thing is putting up a block. So if you can hear me, if you're on TikTok and you can hear me and you want to continue in this live, you may have to find me on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Celestial Earth. YouTube, Divine Energy, Celestial Earth. And you could join me there in case this one shuts down, because I'm talking to it, but it's not controlling. Unable to verify. It's telling me unable to verify. And it's acting like it don't want to respond to me. I be getting such a fight with TikTok. I was starting to like TikTok, but TikTok is too sensitive and I get too much of a fight because, when you're doing that real work, when you're on higher frequencies and you ain't out here playing around, doing a whole bunch of gossiping and I don't know. They be wanting to just really shut it down. I know the fight that I get all the time. So for those of you who are there, come on over to YouTube world, right? So what was I saying? The disappointment and the fear, right? And it was getting so real, so true, right? When they wanted to, so this is what it looked like. Thank you. This is what the fear wheel looks like. Fear is right at the core for those of you who can see. So you see anger, mad, sad, hurt, disappointment, expectation, and fear. So we want to peel those layers to get to the core. And when you get to the core, it's like that's where you are really and truly dealing with it. A lot of the times we still experience, hold on y'all. Let me see if it's going to work with me now. Come on, puzzle. Like they be giving me a puzzle to do, y'all. On TikTok. And then it's still not like functioning with me. It put up a puzzle, but it's not letting me slide and glide the puzzle. Slide and glide. Come on now. Well, I'm doing my best. And it's not cooperating and cooperating. It's just always fighting the truth. You got some real archon energies on TikTok, some real demonic bull crap that be on TikTok. Talk about the archons. The assimilation is real. All right. Let me know if y'all still there, because I don't see the response. Maybe it froze it. I don't know. We got like 28 seconds to go. I don't know what to tell you. But join me on YouTube. Okay, so I'm going to continue here with YouTube. I'm not going to keep fighting with TikTok. It was nice while we had it, right? So we're going to get to the fear. And when you get to the fear, then you can really extract it. Thank you, Spirit. That's what I was going to say. A lot of times we see the same things. We keep refacing the same thing because we're not getting to the core. We're dealing with it on these outer levels, and then it just, the fear is still there. And as long as the fear is still there, it's going to keep growing back. It's going to still keep growing back. You're going to be disappointed again. If we don't get the fear out, the fear is still there, and it's still going to breed expectation, disappointment, hurt, sad, mad, and anger at different points in your life for different reasons, for whatever reason, right? Okay, thank you, live. It let me know that it closed out my live. All right. Now you want to give me music. That's okay. It's all good. So, we want to do the opposite of this wheel. And we want to get to the love wheel. Right? And the love is what is here. And the opposite of everything is on this wheel. Okay? The opposite of expectation is acceptance. Acceptance. This is why acceptance is such a high frequency. This is the love frequency. Everything on the love-based wheel is a love frequency. So if you want to get to this frequency, we got to get the opposite of whatever it is that we're feeling. Right? So if the opposite of disappointment is satisfaction. So we want to be in satisfaction. When you're in love and standing in love, you don't have expectations, you have acceptance. And let me pause right there, because that's what I was going to say, that there is acceptance. I know in the example that I gave, you might be saying, well, what am I supposed to expect? Because that's the question I had. What am I supposed to expect people to hurt me? No. Accept that people are peopling. Accept that they will do. So what can you do about you? What discipline, I don't even want to say control, what discipline do you have over you and within you that keeps you in a controlled space? Where is that in you? Right? So the acceptance, right? And this is something we got to work with. Again, in the mental body, there's a lot of mental work. We got to reconstruct some things. Okay? In the mental body, we have to accept what is, whether we like it or not. So what does that look like in the example that I gave? For example, the fear is that I fear that this person will leave me. We want to put that in the love frequency. We want to transmute that into love. And love is in the abundance rather than the lack. Love, when you get a grip of love, you remember that you are in love and you have everything you need, and there's no need to fear losing someone. Because when you love yourself, your love is not hinged on the validation of someone else, as much as you may want them around. Love lets you see who you are, and it gives you the confidence to say, either they're here or they're not. I will be okay even if they're not, and I will love them anyway. And this takes a certain level of maturity within the self. But when you are in that love, when you recognize that fear is holding you in this vicious cycle of the fear-based wheel that keeps you in a cycle of all of this, because you go through this all the time. When you're in fear, how many times are you going to keep being mad, sad, hurt, disappointed, mad, sad, hurt, disappointed with said person? So it's either you want to get out that loop or you don't. And so when you are truly in the love frequency, you transmute that fear into knowing what love is, which is unconditional, and knowing love for self. The love that lights the truth and stands under truth principles. Yes, it's a trauma loop. The fear-based wheel is always a trauma loop that keeps you looping around from this to this to this to that. But when you are in love, you transmute that fear, and now instead of expectation, you have an acceptance. So again, you may say, well, what am I supposed to expect them? No. When you are in love, you're not in the fear of them leaving you. You love that they are who they are, and you love who you are, and therefore you accept. And that acceptance frees you from the expectation. That's what happens in that little trade-off there. So now you're not always operating out of a space of expectation, which is fear-based, right? I know a lot of people say you need to expect good. No, accept good. Accept the good and the bad and the ugly, so that you are prepared for it, so that you are not faulty by default in expectation and then falling to some type of disappointment. When you accept what is, you have what? Satisfaction. Satisfaction. Instead of disappointment, in your acceptance, you are satisfied with the outcome. Good, bad, or ugly, I am satisfied. Do you see the difference? It's not that a person is not going to do X, Y, and Z, but you are not in a fear base. This is how you become empowered. This is how you take your power back and not put your power in outcomes. You don't put your power in people, places, things, and outcomes. You put your power on the income. You, what's coming in. Incoming. Ashe. All right, so that's with the fear base. I just want to, so we understand what we're doing with these feelings. So then you have the comfort. The opposite of hurt is comfort. So instead of being hurt, you are in comfort. You're only hurt because you're uncomfortable. You're dissatisfied, disappointed, and then you're not comfortable, so you're hurt. And then the opposite of sad, of course, is happy. So you see, you build on the love frequency up to happy instead of being sad. This is course correcting what you had in the fear base. Right? You're no longer sad, you're happy. And the opposite of mad is calm. I don't have to be mad, I can be calm about some things. And then the opposite of anger is peaceful. So being in a place of peace. This is how you truly preserve your peace. And I'm being careful not to say protect. Even when we say protect our peace, we instigate the ego. And this is something, this was my lesson that I'm going to share with y'all today. What happened today and how we can detach. So understanding these feelings helps us to detach from said traumas, things that are in the pain bodies, things that are lodged in our body, the issues in the tissues. The issues that you got, they don't just stay here. They spread to the tissue. They lodge themselves in your tissues until it becomes a stressor. And then we got issues. Then the body starts to have its outbreak. Then you got all kind of dis-eases in the body because of dis-eases in the mind. So now, seeing where we go forward from here, taking our emotions and having an understanding of them helps us to better detach. Now you're seeing the bridge of the detaching. Because we are detoxing from the foods It's helping us pay attention to the mind body complex through mental, emotional body. So we're now detoxing the mind that is helping us to detach physically. Now you're seeing the bridge. So it helps you to break certain patterns and detach, and it makes it a little bit more easier for some of us, a lot a bit more easier of what we need to detach from. So also in this detox, we weren't just doing foods, but we were also removing ourselves from certain person, places, and things. And as I was saying, take off of work if you have to, because what's more important, what's in the physical life or your soul life? And it's not for me to tell you, I'm simply putting the question there. For me, it was to stay away from any 3D events, including the FIFA game and things like that. No, my attention and is to be on high frequency only. And so the only thing that I went to was a Four Seasons event that I participated in as a speaker, a guest speaker, and as a vendor, and sharing high frequency with others who are coming in alignment with the solstice as we align with the cosmos in time. That is why I did that event. Anything outside of that, I was not doing. Even if it was quote unquote spiritual, because we got a lot of spiritual bypassing going on. So even if it was quote unquote spiritual, and as I said that, I see the 6-6, which is very receptive, right? And we are in this receptive completion during this palindrome vortex that we're in. If you didn't get a chance, look at that video that I did on the vortex from the 20th to the 29th, where we're seeing the 62026 all the way to the 62926, right? And today is a 62426, so we're on the foundational balance of it, right? It's another thing. But we're in this receptive completion. So this solstice is also about us being receptive to these light codes. So what we did with the detox to detach is removing the real junk DNA, yes. Allowing dormant DNA to come online, yes. And allowing for receptivity, because it's very receptive. We want to be in a receptive space while we are receiving these light codes. And this palindrome vortex is also helping us to do that, because it was right before the solstice. It started on the 20th. So we were already within this palindrome vortex that is very reflective of the receptive completion, with the 6 at the beginning and the 6 at the end. And we started at the 0 point, and on the solstice it was the 1, and the 1 is the new beginning. So it was also highlighting numerologically, according to divine numerology, that this was the beginning. And there were other factors involved, like Chiron being in Taurus 2 days before this. And so when the sun came into that position, the sun at 0 degrees of Cancer was in sextile with Chiron at 0 degrees of Taurus, which Chiron was already opening up those wounds for us, being the wounded healer. For those who don't know, was helping to open up those wounds. What wounds am I talking about? The wounds within the earth, the wounds within Taurus that represents everything in the earth, right? That represents our perspectives on material things. And this is something that we really, I'm seeing it all over. Like, I woke up in the middle of the wee hours, because I'm pushing time. So whatever time I fell asleep, had a little nap, woke up and was like, what the heck happened? When I looked at my phone, it's like the TikTok feed had a bunch of it had a bunch of, like, a lot of complaints, like a lot of people just oozing, like, and I'm not shocked, but just oozing their feelings, pouring out. They're mad about this, they're mad about that. There's the little boy that got shot. There's and I'm aware of these things, but it's the way that we are reacting, and a lot of us are not recognizing the things that we are entangled with, right? There was Pride Month, like all of these people speaking out about the outrage of whatever their opinion is about Pride Month. Like that was something. There were like 3 different things that I was noticing going on. And I'm like, oh, we mad. We in our feelings, right? There's the outcry of injustice. And rightfully so. And this is why I pay attention to the cosmos, because the sun, as I said, was in Cancer, and the sun and the moon were in a square because the sun was in Cancer and the moon was in Libra. It was a half moon Libra. It was our first quarter moon on that day, right? And the first quarter moon also represents creative action. It's about taking action, right? It is the first quarter after the new moon. So it's ready to take action, as the sun, which represents the masculine activity as well of action and creative activity, is right there with the moon. But the moon is in Libra, and Libra is about justice. So now you got the justice going on. Hey, peace, love, and light. Welcome in. Continue to tap some hearts and send that up so that those who are on that frequency can get it, right? I opened back up TikTok. We'll see where it goes. And so there's the sun and the moon in a square. So we have the conscious and subconscious in a square. We have our outer world and our inner world in a square. And a square usually brings a little bit of tension, but for good, for you to see what's there. So the inner world is bringing this tension of justice. Everybody wants this justice. That's what, the Libra energy is about. The we, like, what are we gonna do? And it's about finding that balance and being accountable. What it's really asking us to do. People think outwardly that we're just looking for justice, but true justice is finding that accountability. So whatever has been going on with this pivot and this shift, there is some uproar about what needs to be done. And I'm saying that the answer to that is looking within and finding accountability within. What are you accountable? And with Chiron in Taurus, it's asking us to reevaluate these wounds, because that's what's being triggered. We're asking for justice out of our wounds. Can you see that? Are y'all with me? Let me know. Let me know if anyone else has been feeling some of this. Where is it that you have felt justice, or you felt within yourself that there's something there? Like, how many of you have seen your wounds? That's it. Just put I see it, or put the I in the chat. Have you seen the wounds that's been coming up? Because it has been. And Pluto in Aquarius, the planet of revelation, is helping us to see that as well. Right? As Pluto has been in a trine with Uranus. Radical changes, revolution to the revelations. So this is why we got to look at the clock, the cosmic clock, and what's happening. Which is something I was saying today, that all of us are under the same sky, the same dome, no matter where you are, no matter what time frame you're in. All of us right now, what's happening is Chiron is in Taurus for everyone on this earth, right? That is a placement, okay? Pluto is where it's at. The planets are like the clocks of time on the clock. And the clock that we're talking about is the 12 gates. The 12 gates from Aries all the way around to Pisces. Where are they pointing, and what does it mean for you? This is bringing us into true revelation. So it's telling us that something's coming up for us. Are you prepared for it? This is why the detox was so important. The detox helps move all of these other blockages out the way, so you can truly see when it's brought up to you, instead of you being overwhelmed or getting sucked under, right? Hi, Kay. Greetings, love and light. Instead of you being sucked under, you can surf over these waves, these energy waves. Instead of being pulled under the water of emotions, Cancer being that water sign, instead of getting pulled under tow, you, in your Christ consciousness, walk on water in faith. Water is your emotions. Water represents the emotional body. That's why Cancer is emotional. And the moon rules Cancer. Yes, I do readings. I forgot to say that. I just got so into our detox, closing out our detox to detach. So let me let y'all know that now. I do readings. The tools that I offer to help, let me take a pause. Thank you for reminding me that. The tools that I have to help are the 5D calendar, right? To help you get on the right coordinates in time, a tool. I do natal readings. Um, I do natal readings, and if you would like a spiritual consultation or guidance along with that, as spirit leads it is what I do, but I intentionally will do the natal chart readings. You can contact me here for that, and there is the upcoming divine chakra moon workshop, where I work with the moon, the full moon that's coming up, that's bringing that cosmic light, and help us to transmute these love-based, these fear-based into love. Like everything that y'all saw here, we work on this deeper in the workshop. So if you would like this and you want some work through that, join us in the workshop. It's in 2 days. It's on the 26th. It's a 7-day workshop, and I do it quarterly. So if you don't catch this one, the next one won't be until September. So only you know where you are at with things. And I always tell people it aligns. You're here for a reason, for such a time as this. So I wouldn't let it pass if it's resonating with you or calling to you. You may want to join that workshop specifically to prepare you even more with integrating these light codes and prepare you for the Sirius gateway that's coming up, right? For those 144 ascendants. So that is what I have to offer. You can email me. You can message me here. I may see it, but email me. I may see the email more than likely. If you want to sign up for the workshop, it's the workshop. You may see the flyer. It is 144 is usually what I charge for the week. It's 7 days, but hold on now. For those who don't have it, don't tell. See, this is the thing about Taurus, because sometimes we hear a price and we already go, oh, okay, I can't do. No, this is how you do not allow that to slow you down. This is the Chiron in Taurus. That's a wound that has us in lack and thinking we can't do something because of a lack, right? Always move in faith and know that there will be a way. If it's for you, it's for you. So what I say is, if you are for this and if you're saying yes to the universe will always say yes to you. So if it's for you, right? Send through Zelle, right? To register for this, Zelle me $9. That locks you in. That tells the universe you're ready. Yes, I said it's 144 and 9 is way, 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 way less than that. But if you don't have it, rather than saying, I'm not here, this is a way that you talk to the universe and you move without fear. Don't ask where and when, how I'm going to get it. Just put in the $9. $9 will register you and get you going. And anything after that, you leave that to the divine. You walk in faith and allow the divine to open that up. And I leave that on your heart, your consciousness, to do what you can do. And all you have to do is email me and let me know, whatever the situation is. For some people, it may be, I don't have it right now. I may not get it till next month. That's on you. And whether you give it or you don't is also on you, because I work with the universe. So whatever it is, it's from your heart, your consciousness. You work with that. So don't let anything deter you. I say that so that you can also utilize this to practice pulling you out of the wounds in Taurus of lack and limitation, so that you can reevaluate certain concepts and have you practicing living in the abundance. And we can't experience the abundance when we move in lack. So that's where I leave that, right? So with the detachments, let me see. Okay, because I'm going to wrap it up now. No, I'm wrapping it up. So yes, I do natal readings. I have the calendars. If you want the calendars, we mail them out to you. and I have the workshop coming up. Those are the three things that I offer, that I have, that I can offer to you right now. Aside from this very detailed closing out detox on Miracle Day. So all of this is helping us to detach from physical things. And this is why I said, even in this detox, I didn't go anywhere 3D. A lot of us don't recognize that these are some of the mistakes we make. So you may be fasting and detoxing in foods, but then in your engagements, in your physical activities, you're still doing certain activities that pull you into lower vibrations, lower frequencies, while we are supposed to be fortifying our bodies and our vessels to receive these light codes. And when you're in the company of others that are in lower vibrations, it affects your auric field, because we are having conversations from information field to information field, whether you're aware of it or not. So you may think, this is why we have to remove our arrogance sometimes. A lot of times we may think, well, I know this, so I'm good. You know, they don't know, that's on them. I know this. But then you place yourself in an environment that has lower vibrations, and it's pulling on your energy, or it's siphoning your energy. It's hooking its hooks into your energy, and it starts to deplete you, and you don't even know why. Or it intermingles with information in your field, and it shifts something, and it blocks and interferes with your light code messages that are coming in. Yes, it's that serious, right? A lot of people don't like to hear that, because they like to feel like I could be spiritual and I can go in. I know, I was there. I was there. I said the same thing. I could go to church and go in. When I was teaching in the church, I was in a metaphysical church, and I was going to the club right after. And I was like, I could do both. I could do this and I could do that, because I know what I know. That's what I call spiritual arrogance. You know what you know, but you also need to be in alignment with what you know. And that's wisdom, right? A lot of people walking out here with a lot of knowledge minus the wisdom. Experience teaches wisdom. And for those who know, you know. Ashe, let me see what Butterfly is saying. This makes me feel like spoken language can be a distraction. Sometimes it depends. If you're talking about spoken language as in going to the club and sitting with others, because not everybody, it could feel like a good thing, but it's just the environment at that time. I'm not saying don't ever go to one. I'm not saying don't ever go out and have fun. I'm saying we got to be mindful and intentional that when we know these light codes, when we know when the cosmic tick-a-tock and certain things are happening, and these are pivotal changing points in time, and we need to maximize our light code exchange, then yes, it is time to detox and detach. Pull back for a little bit, unapologetically, without fear, without guilt, without shame, and without grief. And those are the 4 blocks of your lower chakras that I just mentioned. All right? Fear is the root. Guilt blocks your sacral, shame blocks your solar plexus, and grief blocks your heart. We need to be able to do things without these blocks. So some may find it hard to do, like, oh, I already had an engagement. Let me tell you how serious I am about my spirit. I don't care if I already told somebody I'm going to be somewhere. When I align with the stars and I realize, oh snap, it's the summer solstice and this is what I need to be doing, cancel. That's how serious I am about my spirit. I will cancel. I don't care how much it means to that person. I don't care how much it means to me. Nothing is more important than my soul unfolding journey and my soul's ascension. So this is where we got to learn to find that balance and that self-discipline to be able to say, you know what? It's not that serious. We make things in the world too serious when it comes to our spirit. I'm saying. Right? So for me, I'm not doing anything. I minimize going anywhere and doing anything with anyone if I did not have to. The only thing, and I'm being real raw with y'all, the only thing I did within them 5 days besides stay home and meditate and ground outside in my yard under my tree is on Saturday, the day before, and I wished I didn't even have to do that. But on Saturday, I took my daughter to gym, to her gymnastics, and sat in my car while she did what she did. And I went to my grandfather to take care of my grandfather, as I do every couple of days, every 2 to 3 days. And even that, I was like, man, I wish I could have just stayed home. And if I really wanted to push it, I could. I chose, that's why I said minimize. Outside of that, I stayed to myself. And on Sunday, I went to the Four Seasons Summer Solstice event where I was a speaker and I was a part of the high frequency engagement where we're sharing light codes with other like-minded people. Not just doing spiritual to do spiritual. Right? So let me see. We have a question. What do you do if some of these people are your family? Oh, I stay away. This is why I say the detox to detach. It helps you to detach mentally. Because when you start to build yourself in the love frequency and the confidence, you even detach from family. Because you also learn that family, and again, I'm not saying you can never be around them, but you detach from the way that we have concepts about thinking blood is everything, right? We have another saying that messes us up, is blood is thicker than water, like we're supposed to do everything for blood and with blood. The only thing that blood is information in your DNA through your lineage that is a part of your transcript of what you are to have in your course of life through the DNA. You don't owe nobody nothing through blood. Some of us are here to transcend the blood, to transmute and transcend it and get out of it. So the blood, as I told somebody Sunday, rather than the blood is thicker than water, I say I'd rather have purified water than tainted blood. I'd rather be around purified water than tainted blood. That's the same thing as when Yeshua said, who is my mother, who is my father? My family are those who do the works of the Father with me. That's purified water. You don't got to be related by blood. Do we do soul work together? Are we cosmic family? Are we soul family? I'd rather deal with purified water than tainted blood. So I detach from those, and I don't love them no less, but they are where they are, and we have to understand that there are parasitic entanglements in the bloodline, and these are traps that are set up to keep you there in the snares and in the traps. So when it comes to family, I detach. I don't care if it's somebody's birthday. For those who have been following me lately, you know, I don't care if it's a birthday. I don't care if it's a wedding. I don't care if it's a funeral. I am not going. It's as simple as that. I'm not putting myself in these places and spaces for them to sink their hooks into my energy field and siphon my energy and distract from my purpose. So it depends on what it is. I know for right now and for these 9 months leading up from March, leading up the 9 months, meaning from Aries to Sagittarius. From the month of Aries to the month of Sagittarius, that 9-month window, I am not going to places with family. I'm not allowing myself to be accessible to them because their wounds will attach to you and they will utilize you, especially if you're a strong light body. They will siphon your light unknowingly, right? I'm not saying they know. The problem is because they don't know, they are willing tools for the opposition and for the parasitic energy, for the narcissistic system, all of that. So they are going to use you as long as they have access to you. They will confuse the information. It's all about how serious you take your soul work. I can't tell anybody what to do, but I can tell you what is true. if that makes sense. Ashe. Let me see if there's any other questions, comments. And I'm seeing 4, so I'm seeing that foundational balance within this 6 that I'm saying, the 62426. So 4 is that foundational balance of what we are harmonizing. Right? Let me see what you were saying. If I missed something there. Welcome in, Marta. I see it. Okay, I thought I saw another comment. I thought I saw something else there, question or comment. So yeah, that's what I do at family. It may seem harsh to some people. If this is new to you, it may be harsh. But this is something that you got to be working on and practicing, this practical application. And so when you detox, to detach, it helps you to detach and be able to say, no, I'm not going there. No, I'm not being there. I don't do holidays. No, we're not doing that. No Thanksgiving, no Christmas, no none of that. Keep that, because that's a major distraction from when the celestials want us to harness the light, as I was explaining to them in that meeting on Sunday. Those are light codes we get every year around Sagittarius, when we're in that window, that month of Sagittarius, where they got all that holiday stuff happening. And it's a big distraction from you being able to get the light codes that you need to get, as Sagittarius points to our galactic center. And that's light codes we get that come into our solar system all the time. The sun filters that, or the sun as our server that serves us those light codes all the time. However, when we are pointed, when we are at Sagittarius, it is in an alignment, it is pointing directly. So we're getting those light codes coming right in, right? As well as the Sirius gateway. The Sirius gateway is another alignment with our sun and the Sirius sun. Again, through the galactic center. So when you know these, you set you appoint yourself, you set yourself in these ways, and you fortify your body to be prepared for this, and nothing else matters. I feel like Lauryn Hill, nothing even matters. Nothing matters at all. Right? You're welcome, Humble. Faithfully, it wasn't too harsh, right? Right? It's not too harsh, but you got to put you first. Right? I'm going to check out your prior video about the detox to get all the details. Yes, because I go in a little bit deeper into this and some other information. I go into the other things like salty and these other cravings that we get. I went into that a little bit more. All right, so with that, oh, good thing I got double light. Double light. Ooh, bright light, bright light. Let me turn it down. So, any questions, any comments with us being aligned with the stars? All right. So with that said, this is what the detox to detach was all about, and helping us to be in alignment. And there's so much more that I could help. If anybody wants any one-on-ones, I'm available for natal chart readings and one-on-one spiritual consultation. Right? And it could lead to a spiritual reading. I don't like to promise people that, because it depends on how spirit goes. I'm not going to pretend to just be reading you something spiritual. If spirit says tell them this, then I will. But other than that, it'll be like a spiritual consultation and guidance into this 5th dimensional shift, this ascending, this ascension into the Aquarian age, things like that I can help you to understand as you are awakening into that. Right? Okay, the example that I would give you, since we wrapped up all of that now, I do want to say this. To anyone who may be here from that Sunday, who might be there, whether you see this now or later, and I may do another video specifically apologizing to those. This is why. In that high frequency event, everything was beautiful, high frequency, until we had our closing circle, right? And for some of you who were on the live, you may have seen it, because I did have the YouTube live up for that closing circle. And we had an elder. It's his event, and this is why I show up. And it's usually a good closing circle, particularly. But this time, he went on a rant. And I understand why, because of the alignments and the wounds, as I said. Chiron in Taurus, and wounds are coming up, right? As well as that full moon that was squared that's asking for justice. So people may not understand why, but this is what was coming up for him. And in his misappropriated masculine, he went on a rant, right? So if you want to see it, if you want to see it, it's on the live on YouTube. It's one of the more recent lives, maybe the last two or something like that. And you'll see a circle, and you'll see this man talking. And then after he went on his rant, I was able to do a meditation to kind of bring us all in. Why I apologize is because I too, in my mastery, am learning what to not impose upon. So that wasn't my event, so I didn't want to impose. However, I was asked to be a speaker and to kind of co-host with him. And in the circle, it began to feel not sacred and a little unsafe, because of, and when I mean energetically unsafe, not that he was threatening, but energetically, because of his rant and what he was speaking on, which is something that a lot of us in the spiritual communities are kind of frustrated with, right? Which is that people are not really showing up. Like, you're doing all this, you're putting your efforts out, and people are half stepping, half assing, or, not really showing up. And he was focusing on the lack rather than the abundance of, and because it was a good turnout. It wasn't as much as it used to be, but it was a good turnout. And the people that were there were truly there in high frequency and good spirit. He chose to vent on the people that have not been showing up, and then kind of pouring that out on the people that were there. And I could feel it while I was in the circle. So as a Reiki master, I started sending energy. If anyone sees that video, you might see my arms moving. You might see me going like this and throwing symbols up in the circle, because I could feel it. I could feel the annoyance of some of the people in the circle. I could feel the offense, because it's like he's throwing stones energetically at people who are truly there and giving of their time by focusing on the lack, right? And I say this as an example to all of us, because where are you focusing on the lack of something, as frustrating as it may be, right? We have to have accountability for how we show up and what we're connected to. And it's either you're connected to the abundance or the lack. It's either you're speaking from the love frequency or the fear frequency. And so he spewed this. And why I apologize to those is because I know as a spiritual elder that even though this is his thing and he's the elder, that I, in hindsight, and as I was convicted afterwards, that I should have said something, that I should have done something. Because even if I didn't say something, I could have went about just making the circle more sacred by even just lighting my sage and just moving it around the circle. And with all due respect, asking him for a moment so we can clear the energy, right? Without explanation. It doesn't have to be a debate or anything like that. It's the way how we go about things. And so in the moment, I didn't, because I kept saying, this is not my thing. Don't impose, don't. But truth is, I felt the disturbance. And at that moment, although he is the elder physically, I am the spiritual elder. In that moment, he is not spiritually aware or at my level of spiritual maturity to know what he is doing to the circle. He is just venting, but he's not aware. And so I apologize to those who may have felt that on my behalf for not stepping up, and even on his behalf, because forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because he means well just by even having the event. However, there's frustration of doing this event for years and years and years, and the results are looking a little different for him. I understand. You're looking for justice, half moon in Libra. So again, that is my apology to those who may have felt that, whether on the live or anyone who may have been physically in that circle. I hold myself accountable for that part. There's a responsibility there. And it even helps me. This is a part of me in this lesson through the solstice. What am I going to do differently? This is definitely one of them. I'm no longer going to sit in a space where, even if I get it, I've learned not to impose, but the balance to that is knowing when to step in, right? There's a We got to know when and where, right? With all due respect, something needs to be shifted. And if you recognize something, we have a spiritual responsibility to say or do something different about it. In that moment, the most I did was send Reiki. I Reiki'd the whole circle. I did do something, but it wasn't something that stopped the berating in the moment, right? So that was that. And the lesson that I say to that is like what I ask you all to look and see, where is it that you have maybe felt some wounds that you may have ranted on or vented about, or whatever it is that you feel may be this injustice, and it may be very well true. But how can you alchemize that? How can you transmute that and being grounded in the love frequency so that your response is not one that is coming out of fear-based activity? Ashe? So with that said, that was that lesson there, and take with it what works with you for you to, see within yourself. It's a reflection for all of us to see, where is it that I may be having misappropriated masculine energy, which is the ego that is hardwired to protect, right? Aside from that, before I close, the last lesson, is there anything else? Yes, I want to talk more about the ego and what it's hardwired with, but I'm not going to do that right now because I want to wrap up with the lesson. So we'll do maybe another live, or I may just do a video speaking about it, or both. Today specifically, and this was my personal lesson that I share with you all because of understanding how energy is like shared and transferred. So I'm taking my daughter to gym today, and in taking her, I'm always struggling. The challenge for me is moving in time, like being on time for things. I've been doing much better, but a lot of time it's still a frustration, and I may even, if I leave a certain time, I may even drive like a bat out of hell. And on the road is where I really see my test of patience. I will be very calm and everything, but on the road it comes out, especially if I'm running late and I'm rushing to get through things, and I'm a very skilled driver. So then I'll have like this arrogance, just like I said, spiritual arrogance. I may have this arrogance of, I know what I'm doing, so get the hell out of my way. Like, you ain't a driver, get out my way. And I'm, moving and shifting, and it's in my ignorance driving in this arrogance, and not the ignorance of lack of knowledge, but the ignorance that disregards knowledge. Like, you know better, but you're disregarding it, that type of ignorance. And so I don't like when I move in that, because it's a lower vibration, it's a lower frequency, and it does attract more stuff to come at me on the road because I'm already moving in that ignorance. So anyhow, I realized while I was driving that I'm not going to drive like that. I made the intention. I had this certain peace over me today that I'm going to move in the best way that I can, because we're pushing time. Like right now is lunchtime for us. Even though you see it's nighttime, it's lunchtime. Our household got up at about 4 or 5 o'clock. So I'm taking her to this thing that she's supposed to be there at 6, but I had to get them ready and all of that. So I'm already speaking to myself. Yes, you want to be on time. Yes, you're working on that. Know that we are pushing time. And so when we get up, it's different from everybody, and you're doing the best that you can with that. Also, you're putting in your meditation first, because as I get up, I make sure I meditate first thing. So while they're getting ready, I'm doing my meditation. Then I'm preparing myself to say, all right, I'm going to get on the road. I'm already telling myself, we're not going to drive like aggressive, right? We're going to be aware. And I'm already processing, hey, you owe nobody anything, because you also get feelings of guilt, right? I'm sharing with y'all how it works through the mind, how the ego works. And the ego is already saying, that misappropriated ego is already beating on me. You always late. You this, you that. And now you're going to have your daughter feeling some type of way because she don't like being late. And all kind of things that are, coming up in my mind. And I'm just really breathing through it in my mind. and using my wise ego to stamp that and say, you are doing what you can. You will not move aggressively. We will not allow this lower vibration to allow any loosh to come in, because that's how the loosh get in, right? That's a whole nother topic. If you don't know what loosh is, we'll talk about loosh. And so I'm working this through my mind, and it's a process, right? We can't just say things one time and think it's going to stick. It's a process. So I'm processing this, and the misappropriated ego is still trying to kick up a little, yeah, but you this, and it's like, be quiet, right? And this is how we got to talk to the ego in the mind. And I was saying that afterwards, as I got in, I dropped her off, and I see the people looking at me like, there go that late parent. You know, here she go with her late child. I waved to them to let them know she's here. They waved, but I could feel the energy kick back from them, like, you know, and it triggered the misappropriated ego again, like, here it go. And it kind of almost puts you in a place of feeling like guilty again. And I was like, nope, I owe nobody nothing. I'm not obligated to anybody. I owe nobody anything but myself to recognize truth and have accountability. Now, I'm saying this with accountability. There's a difference, because it is another way that the wise ego is protecting, but without being defensive and without the lack of accountability. Most people get defensive and they don't hold accountable their part. I know I'm late. I know I'm wrong. I know that they don't want her to be late. I understand why they're looking at me that way. At the same time, energetically, this is what happens with the information field. I come in, and don't think that in their energy, they don't already know in my information field that I'm already got a wound, right? I'm already toiling with something. Their wound, which is their annoyance, picks that up, sends that energy to me, and boom, it hits me. How I deal with it is on me. So this is where I have to say I'm not obligated, because I feel that energy, but I got to transmute even their energy that's being sent to me, even though they're not aware of it. This is unconscious to them. They think they just waving high, but I could feel their irritation towards me. And they don't realize that their wound picked up something, my wound already. This is the communication in our fields of information. And so I had to transmute that by saying, I'm not obligated. I don't owe nobody nothing. And I'm not doing it from a ignorant, arrogant type of place of, I don't owe you nothing. So what if I'm late? Like I have no responsibility. No, I'm accountable. I'm dead wrong. But I owe you nothing. So I send that back. That is how I return to sender. I owe you nothing. I'm okay. Let me go over here. And I sit with it and I think about it, and I'm looking at going over it, looking at the ego. Of course, high five, job well done. Right? And I'm saying this as an example so that you all even see this is how we transmute the energies, the frequencies, because of these light codes. I'm in now time, in true time reality, in real time, transmuting these wounds that may be coming up in the physical world. So reevaluating what means value to you. And my peace is very valuable. My transcendence is very valuable. And I know that it's bigger than just this year late experience and this wound and the way that I'm experiencing this wound. So I sat with it and I looked at the ego and said, okay, ego, thank you for showing me this. And then it's funny, I'm even laughing because I'm laughing at how the ego, I'm seeing how the wise ego is staying firm and the misappropriated ego want to add its 2 cents in. Because the moment I feel that, it's like it want to say, yep, see, there it go. You a F up, you this, you, and it's like, pipe down. I'm going to need you to shh, while I hold accountability, knowing what's what, and stay in my wise ego. I don't owe nothing. That's how I shut that down. I don't owe no obligation to nothing. That's how I shut down that misappropriated ego. And so this is how we have to find within ourselves. And the example I saw with that, it was funny, but I don't know how many of you seen like Harlem Nights. That's what I saw. The part in Harlem Nights when they was blasting the guns and they like blah blah blah, and then he go pap pap, brrr, and then he go pap pap, and he does that a couple of times until they hit him. I don't know if it's Eddie Murphy, which one of them, until he hit him and say stop that shit. Like that's what that misappropriated ego is like. It's like the little gun that want to go pap pap, that want to add to it, right? You already done berated yourself. You already done put yourself in place. And here goes a misappropriated ego. And another thing. And that's why you're this. And yes, that's the misappropriated ego. And we got to be like how Quick was in Harlem Nights and be like, shut the hell up. Sit down. Stop papping that little gun. Pap, pap. No, I don't need you right now. Right? And we'll talk more about that when I talk about the ego and the separation of the ego, or the ego's, just doing its thing. But that is the example that I had to share in real time, how we see certain wounds come up and how we can address those wounds. Instead of it wallowing you up and instead of it berating you, you stand your firm ground and let your wise ego set the boundaries for you, and please have accountability, right? Don't just set up to shut up the misappropriated ego without having accountability, right? Because the ego has its ways, right? And then, that's what I have with the detox. So faithfully, this has helped with those of you who are going through the detox to detach. What is it we need to detox from in our mind and detach from in our life, world, and affairs? And please, Chiron is going to be in Taurus for the next 7 years. It just so happens that the sun really gave us a boost. It really gave us a head start in the beginning of really bringing it to the surface and highlighting. Don't take any of these things lightly. Let the sun highlight to you and bring exposure to this is what you need to work on. If this is something you're having a problem with, for me, in my example, it was time, then this is something to work with. If it's money, if it's a relationship, whatever it is that you see that you're having a problem with, that you're in a loop with, then it is something to face and to realize, to reevaluate, because the problem is the value that you put on it in Taurus. And that's the key that you want to look at. We're getting the piece of it right now with the sun at its solar maximum and these 3 days of stillness. What has happened while you were in the detox? What has happened in these 3 days of stillness? And now on Miracle Day, the sun moves. Now your conscious mind moves. Now the ego moves, but now you want it to move in wisdom. So again, remember, we're going from sun in Gemini to sun in Cancer. We're moving from information into emotion. So this had a lot to do with the sacral. And for those who are in the workshop, we'll dive deeper into the sacral workshop, the sacral emotional body. So it'll help you really translate this through the feelings, help you extract what you need to extract. So continue to eat a lot of water content foods. That's going to help you with these emotions so that you can move it through the emotional body. It had a lot to do with sacral energy. Wear a lot of orange. Do whatever you can to activate this sacral. Google it, look it up, and look at where you may have had blockages. Look at where you may have been overactive or underactive in this particular chakra and see how it works with you. And again, natal readings, all of that I can do with you. Workshop will be in 2 days. So if it resonates, it works. If you work it, get to work on your internal you. Thank you for doing the detox, the detach. If you didn't do it, that's okay. You can still do it. As I've explained it to you, you still have time to do it in preparation for the Sirius Gateway. We're still in the window of this solstice and this energy, so I would do it as soon as I can. If you haven't done it, just thank you for your presence. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for those who shared your hearts, who shared the message, the love and lights. From my heart to yours, namaste, ashe, ashe, ashe. I send you all lots of love. Peace, love, and light. Enjoy the rest of